NITTR Chandigarh. Professor Punia is a meritorious graduate engineer from MEM Engineering College, Jodhpur in 1985 and MTech in 1999 from IIT Delhi. Further secured PhD in Thermal Engineering from IIT Delhi in 1996. A veteran academician and able administrator, Professor Punia has guided research at master's and doctoral levels and published over 60 papers which find place in international and national journals of repute. He has published several books and manuals in the field of mechanical engineering and has carried out 3 research projects sponsored by AICTE and 1 project sponsored by EST Delhi. Professor Punia is a member of several bodies like IEI, ISTE, Society of Automatic Engineers. So now I request Professor Punia to address the gathering.
Good afternoon. First of all, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Patnaik for giving opportunity to me to be part of this very important event. Since morning, we were discussing the issues of skills and attitude and knowledge of boys and girls were coming out every. If I discuss the situation of Chandigarh, if I want to appoint a driver, say, in Chandigarh, even if I am paying 25,000 rupees, drivers are not available. Other hand, if I am floating one advertisement that I will be paying 5,000 rupees and I need one MBA graduate, I think against MBA advertisement, thousands of applications will be. Difference between driver and MBA, even comparison is not possible at all. Driver in 25,000 rupees it is not available, MBA graduates in 5,000 rupees they are available. So difference is driver is having some skills in their hand, and in MBA graduate those skills are missing. That's a very serious issue, very challenging issue in fact. Sometimes back Patnaik, Professor Patnaik was part of my institute, he was working there, he was heading one educational television department. We were interviewing electronics graduate students. We wanted one technical hand. There were 24 students who have appeared in that interview. All they were having BTech degrees and some of them were pursuing MTech also. One by one we were interviewing them, and first question which we were asking them, have you seen oscilloscope? Sir, no. Multimeter? No. Any electronic component? Diode, triode, transistor? No, sir. Breadboard? No. Sir, don't ask practical questions. Theory पूछो आप sir. I don't want theory. I want practical person who can do something with his hand. That type of person I need. So it's very alarming situation. 4 years he has given in the institute. Parents have paid huge money. Indian education system, you see, particularly higher education, is very costly. Very costly. 90% education in private hands and very costly education system. After graduating, after 4 years degree, industry people are saying there is no use of this boy and girl because he doesn't know anything. Where he go? Parents have paid lot of money, even lot of loan they have taken or something they have sold, and that money they have put on their part, and society is saying there is no use of this boy and girl. What will be doing with that one? It's a crime in fact. We academicians, we people are doing crime. If the student to whom we are teaching and if he is unable to do justice with the joke, it means we people have failed first. We teachers have failed first. So all this blame which is going on this technical institute. Per capita income of our Indians is around 60,000 rupees per year, and the amount of money which is paying on higher education is around 2 lakh rupees. So how this balancing will be? It's a very difficult situation. So around 3 months before, Professor Patnaik came to me that I have been selected as Vice Chancellor in Orissa. I congratulated him. He said, sir, I want to get it relieved from here immediately. Immediately means how much time, Professor Patnaik, you need? He said, around 10 days. I said, tomorrow you go. Don't spend 10 days here. You go tomorrow. Sir, how it is possible? Just you are joking. I'm not joking. Go tomorrow. And how many years you want to be relieved from Needle Chandigarh? He said for 2 years. I said no. I'll be relieving you for 5 years. Go there for 5 years. At least do something complete planning so that state can see some visible changes. In 2 years, what you'll be doing? First year you'll be doing some planning. These type of meetings you'll be having. And next year you'll be planning to go back to Needle Chandigarh. What you'll be doing in this case? So I'm relieving you for 5 years. He has been relieved for 5 years. Now what should be the plan? First plan he said, this industry academia integration. He said, and wonderful, wonderful. Now we are saying 3 components are needed. One we are saying skill, another one we are saying knowledge, another one we are saying attitude. We are saying we in academic institutes are very good in providing this knowledge part. We are requesting to industry people, you do the skill part. So 50-50 partnership. 50% we have done for the part, 50% you please do. Remaining third part is attitude part. He is willing to learn or not. He is able to manage the things or not. What is his sincerity, dedication, honesty? Those components 50-50% again partnership. 50% we teachers to be providing and 50% you industry people. It is your responsibility. So the total, the spectrum of education which you are giving, there is 50-50% partnership. So I said to Professor Patnaik, you go and first of all invite industry people, invite academicians, we people will be there, and on a common platform we will be deciding that who will be doing what. We will be there for 5 years. So in first year, this planning we have done, integration of this one. Second time when you are organizing this event next year, say, you say industry academia integration, dot, it has happened. At least in 10% institutes it has happened. हमने कुछ करके दिखा दिया. Next one you will be doing, in second year you will be doing, in 30% institutes it has been happened. Third year in 60%. Finally, in 100% institutes, really that integration has been happened. And last year when you will be relieving from Odisha, that time it should be academia industry integration and a successful story of Odisha. If that type of trend we can create, I think it will be achievement. That exactly what some of the examples, real examples which we people have done, particularly myself, before joining to Needle Chandigarh, I was principal of one of the government engineering college. I was at Bikaner. Bikaner is a remote area in Rajasthan, temperature in summer becomes 50 degrees Celsius. In desert that institute was, and when I joined that institute in 2004, AICT has put that institute in no admission category because no teachers were there, no infrastructure, no faculty, nothing was there, only 500 students were studying there, but the institute was put in no admission category. When I joined there from NIT Jaipur to that place, first question I asked from the students, how is academic environment? They said it's a very good environment. We are having no teachers, no classes. In examination we are doing copying. We are very happy, even your presence is not needed at all. Sir, why you are joined here? आपकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. It's unfortunate. It's a government institute and fee structure is of private, the self-financing. Fee you are paying 60,000, 70,000 and there is no teacher. It's unfortunate part. Some guest faculty members were teaching. Second question I asked, if some of the guest faculty members, if they are not performing well, because in government system, making regular appointment is very, very tedious. It's very difficult. If you are appointing one person, advertisement you are putting, hundreds of applications will be coming, only one will be selected, 99 will become your enemy. They will be putting RTI, आप पे आरोप लगाएंगे, आपने जातिवाद कर दिया, आपने रिश्वत ले ली. It's very difficult. At least some guest faculty members, if I can change. I started some of them to remove from them who are not working well, guest faculty members. Immediately I got phone call from my minister that what indiscipline you are doing. Due to your this activity, party position in Bikaner is getting weakened. कमजोर हो रही है वहाँ पे पार्टी की पोजीशन. मैं कुछ academic environment को change करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. I said minister साहब, the appointment letter which you issued to me, clearly it is mentioned that there is a sick academic institute. I like to improve the academic environment. Better you issue me another letter and clearly mention that I like to improve the party position. I'm competent enough. मैं करूँगा अच्छी तरह से. Don't worry. That was the last interaction which I had with my minister. I stayed there for 6 years. When I left that institute, we were having 7,000 students. The fee collection was around 30 crores. And we were having 300 permanent faculty members. It has become just like an industry. What exactly I done for just I will explain within 2 minutes. One, I have given autonomy to the students. Wherever in the country any program is there, even in Odisha some program is there, please go there. Do visit. At least you'll be learning how tickets have to be served in the railways. Same are done with the teachers. When I've given the appointment to new teachers, I said I won't allow you people to wear this watch. My timings of the institute won't be from 10 to 5. My timings will be from 5 to 10. If you want to work, you want to join this institute because you like to compete with private people. Private institute, same fee structure it is there. So if something special we are dealing with, then only it is possible. Otherwise, survival in Bikaner desert is not possible at all. But autonomy to the teachers, wherever it is possible, their quality improvement program, their MTech, PhD, wherever it is possible, we will sponsor you. That we have done. And that institute has become just like industry. So change many kiya. I said we won't be saying that industry people are not accepting our products. We will be saying our institute should look like industry. Why there should be difference between academics and industries? Everything except electricity and raw material, we were not purchasing anything. Even fabrication of equipment, furniture, everything we have started. Every year around 2 crore rupee furniture we used to sell in the market. Even the casting, manufacturing, casting of aluminium in foundries, everything has started. Near Bikaner, there are 30 industries of ceramics, insulators they are manufacturing in fact. Insulators are being manufactured at Bikaner, but testing was being done at Baroda. So a lot of time is needed. Manufacturing you are doing at Bikaner, and for the purpose of testing, high voltage testing was being done at Baroda. Industry people came to Engineering College Bikaner. Can you open up this testing laboratory here in the institute for us? It was a wonderful time for me because industry people are coming to us to institute. They are having faith, and can you open up this type of laboratory? We have opened up that lab. It is now NABL accredited laboratory. The testing which we are doing at 700 kVA. जो इलेक्ट्रिकल के स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ाते 11 kVA तक पढ़ाते we were testing those components at 700 kVA. Now that laboratory is NABL accredited and it is earning around 2.5 crores as a testing as consultancy from industry. Same time we have converted that into ceramic engineering branch of engineering students also. So for the students there it is being used as a laboratory, for industries it is a testing lab. In our country your railways are working for 24 hours. Your hospitals are working for 24 hours. Why not these academic institutes? These are not meant for working for 5 hours. We people will have to change our mindset, and our institute should look like industry. When our friends are joining industries, they should blame to industries and your infrastructure is not as good as which we are in engineering colleges. अगर ऐसा आप change कर दो, I think majority of the problems which are discussing since morning, it will be sorted out. That type of issue is required. Just 3-4 suggestions. One, Professor Patnaik, I think he is not visible here. One suggestion I am saying for improving this hands-on part. Foremost part is industry people are saying your students are very weak in practical part. Even they are unable to understand the drawing. Even they are unable to read the drawing. What we should do with these files? I am saying in second semester, level 1 NSQF, the capsule of that one you please keep in second semester. Level 1 NSQF. In fourth semester, NSQF level 2 capsule. Hands-on part, practice part they'll be doing. In 6th semester, level 3. In 8th semester, level 4 and 5 both. 5 means diploma. So when finally we'll be giving degree, it is BTech plus diploma in vocational education related to IT or related to automobile or whatever it may be. I think the practical part, the problem which is coming, that will be sorted out. So that suggestion I am giving to Professor Patnaik. Just about education I am saying. Just one story it is a real story in fact. Someone around 30 years back in 1985, a boy after doing graduation, he has left India, he has gone to US. He was from Pune. He stayed there for 30 years. In 2015, he came. In between, he never visited to India. When he came in 2015, some of his friends have gone to airport to receive it. He said, I want to take a round of Pune. Before going to home, I want to take a round of Pune. When they were moving on the road, that boy was not accepting that I am in Pune. The condition of the road, the type of car, the type of infrastructure, everything had changed in 30 years. People can observe. So he was not accepting that I am really in Pune or not. Finally, they have gone to that institute where he studied in 1985. जब उस कॉलेज में पुणे में गया, जाके बोला कि अब पक्का हो गया मैं पुणे में आ गया हूँ, because no change in college. जैसा था वैसी laboratory, वैसी lab, वैसी teacher, सब मेरे को वही दिख रहा है. So the changes which has to be taken place according to needs of the society, those changes we people are not done. अगर ये नहीं करेंगे, I don't know what will happen. If this dreaming, this 2020 will be developed, 2030 will be developed, no, never will be developed. हम कभी भी डेवलप नहीं होंगे अगर इसी तरह का एटीट्यूड चलता रहा तो. It's a difficult situation. First day when student is taking admission in our institute, Professor Arora Sahab was saying the quality of students are not bad. I'm not saying it is bad, but they are highly materialistic. First day when they are taking admission, first question they are asking from the professor, sir, I have taken admission in this particular branch, what package I will be getting? मेरे को पैसा क्या मिलेगा वो बता दो, but responsibilities are to shoulder. नहीं. Another issue was about the curriculum. Industry people are saying your curriculum, whatever you are teaching, is not according to our requirements. It's true. We are teaching them steam engine in mechanical engineering, which is working at the speed of 20 kilometers per hour. Our Prime Minister is planning to have a train, bullet train, which can move at 350 kilometers per hour. How the synchronization will be? It's difficult. Sir, nowhere curriculum is there. Nowhere. In Punjab is producing around 60% of the wheat for whole country. No curriculum with farmer. So changes are अपने आप update करते जा. Even for industries, no curriculum. They are competing at global level. Your mobile, your cars, everything which they are producing at global level. They are competing without curriculum. Why in our institutes curriculum are? कोई curriculum की जरूरत नहीं. सचिन तेंदुलकर never had studied theory books. अगर थ्योरी की किताबें पढ़ के वो बैटिंग करता, क्या आज मैंने थ्योरी पढ़ ली कि फ्रंट को कैसे लगाना है, जो है स्लिप पे से कैसे निकालना है, अगर थ्योरी पढ़ता हो, practically we need, and curriculum should be practical only. So my some of the suggestions are 2-3 suggestions are which NITER Chandigarh can do. First, I announced yesterday that for improving the quality of this, particularly the communication skills part, the process skills part, the general skills part, NITER Chandigarh will be conducting around 10 programs from Odisha special modules we are preparing, and we will be doing through ICT. This ICT which we have conducted today. Even we can connect 30 centers, 40 centers, and that entrepreneurship has been done by Professor Patnaik. Earlier we were doing this video conferencing and all. He has done this social media without any infrastructure at any point. At your end, no infrastructure will be needed. Just dongle, laptop will be needing, will be connecting. Second one, around 100 programs would like to conduct for teachers. One, how teaching has to be done. Second one, every day your contents are changing. Electronics is changing, computer is changing. So how the updation of those teachers has to be. Then curriculum, design of curriculum. We people would like to involve ourselves because we are having special department, special expertise for development of curriculum. And according to the curriculum, this is systematic. Maybe print, maybe non-print, particularly in the form of videos. And those videos in Hindi, in English, and even it may be in Korea also. Those languages, so all the books of engineering, all the books of polytechnic would like to convert. Already we have started this project we are doing for UP, and during last 2 months around 300 videos we have converted. All those videos even we can put on our NCT NITER Chandigarh Technology Enabled Learning. Those videos will be available for every student. So with these words, thank you very much for giving opportunity, and hope this NITER Chandigarh and Biju Patnaik Technical University will be a wonderful association, and we will do something, some dent we will be able to make after 5 years, and it should become a successful story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next talk is by Sri Sarat Chandra Mishra. Sri Mishra superannuated as the Assistant General Manager of NALCO after serving the organization for long 30 years. Sri Mishra has an MA in Sociology and PG Diploma in Public Administration from Jabalpur University and postgraduate diploma in Personal Management from Anna Melai University. Moreover, he also has a degree in Law and Labor Law. Without much delay, I would like to request Sri Sarat Chandra Mishra to share a few words with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. In this Technocrat session, I am a HR man, giving me chance to deliver on this topic of industry, academia, integration. Though I am not a technocrat, I am a HR man. I look in that light. I have served in the NALCO, a Navaratna company, was established in 1981 with a slogan, ordinary people, extraordinary attitude. In this session, this industry academia integration, I want to give an example that while establishing NALCO in 1981, we have recruited GET, graduate engineer throughout India, taking them simple experience of only academic and recruited them immediately, sent them abroad for the practical training. And they are now the backbone of the company now. Those now, one of them is another is in the director position. And NALCO is integrated in that academic and the practical in simple way, ordinary people, extraordinary attitude. We have recruited GET, we have recruited diploma in SOTs, senior operative training, we have recruited ITI in junior operative training and posted them in the most sophisticated basic and tried them, and we have proved that ordinary people, extraordinary attitude, you will find our logo in high. One cat is catching the fish inside the pot. One fish is coming out and the cat is taking the fish into the water. He is not eating it. We have taken that, yes, if we grow, then we can survive. Otherwise, you cannot survive. And in this academia integration, we have introduced in NALCO that Sarjana Sahayata scheme. Any machine that engineers are facing problem while implementing in the production part, we have tested them while any problem. We invested much amount by engaging there or outside party for a repair or to make our requirement. But we have introduced an Sarjana scheme, Sahayata scheme, Satyasharma. Our engineer with a group, they integrated in that way and they developed, they analyzed the problem, they modify the machine in such a requirement so that the machine put the best result and give maximum output without much investment. So my point is here, this technocrats group, if I express my view, you may take it, otherwise please don't mind it. Now in 21st century, our curriculum, if you see, there is no such R&R policy. If any engineer works any industry without rehabilitation, without land acquisition, without settlement, without their replacement, without their engagement, can any industry start? No. In last 2 decades back, 3 M was required: man, money, man, machine. Now L is required. First money is required, then land is there to be required, then machine, then man. So in curriculum, our engineers are facing problem while they are recruiting, they are interacting with the outsider, while they are engaging themselves in that area, coming across the local people. The people whose land has been lost, their expectation has been more, and they have been twisted by the, you can say, the local leader and the policies of the parties and other things. So my request in this forum, in curriculum, we can include in semester R&R policy, ISO 9000, OSAS, social accountability policy, that let our technocrat also know across that what is this. Without that, whether industry can run, whether company can run. Without this, I think in this century, we cannot imagine. So my August gathering, appeal to August gathering, kindly brainstorm it, kindly think it, and when the technological innovation is going there, the people mind is changing, expectation is more, and though we come back that yes, if you recruit two men at a one time with same background, with same experience, one person is working, another person is not working. If you analyze it, you will find same. There is no difference. Only thing because their attitude, their thinking capacity, their preconceived idea is not there, so that he is not working, another man is working. Maybe financially, if you give, sometime it work, but always it will not work. So my suggestion, kindly consider this topic and also include all this topic so that it can be integrate industry academia integration in such a way. It is my suggestion. Thank you. I express my sincere thanks to the BPUT and the Silicon Engineering Organization of this meet for giving me a chance to deliver my views. Thank you all.
EVP in Tech Mahindra Business Intelligence and Analytics practice with close to 17 years of IT experience, managing almost 50% of the VITW business of Americas region of Tech Mahindra. In the last 5 years, he has been an indispensable part of leadership program for Shadow Board, which is a program conceptualized by Mr. Anand Mahindra, MNM Group Head, to select a few young leaders of the organization who can question the status quo of the organization to bring the disruptive changes. During his shadow board stint, he has worked on various prestigious projects like Mission 2015, 1000 Leadership Program, Distributed Leadership, etc. He joined as a member of Shadow Board in 2010 and served as the chairman of Shadow Board for 2 years. Currently, he is the mentor of the program. Mr. Chaudhary, please.
Thank you very much, respected VC DPOT of Scotland, distinguished dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I think the first two speakers have actually made it a little easier for me to bring out some of the points because it's very difficult to keep the crowd alive just before the lunch and just after the lunch. I'd like to thank both of them. And this topic is about placement and entrepreneurship. Very difficult because I'm from the technology background. I wish Kumar would have been actually taking me on this session which I was talking about. So all the difficult questions on placement should go to Kumar and my friend Mr. Manoj Manda also. So it's not only I'm going to answer that. Jokes apart, so we just wanted to share a few perspectives because it's the second time that I'm coming for such kind of meet. We had a similar meet 4-5 months back in Susti Plaza. So what I've observed is that in this world of constant changing environment, we need to be very, very agile in adapting to changes. And we've been discussing quite a few times from the morning that our courses are not aligned to the futuristic needs and all. But let me give you some of the examples what actually IT industry is going through right now. When we spoke in the morning that some 30% of jobs will go away and so on and so forth, it's actually because the customers are also having a lot of pressure in terms of meeting their top line and bottom line. So what they're saying is that you bring in automations. So when automations will come, then people like me and Sparna and Kumar, I think we have to also look for either upgrading ourselves or we have to look for other avenues like opening a restaurant or running a cab services. These are the kind of articles that are going on the net. Then other angle which we are looking at is we spoke about the Internet of Things. So I mean, just imagine what the future is going to be. I mean, you can, in the breakfast table, you can talk to your kids and say that, of course, you're not going to have this food today. You say, why? Because you had bad stomach. So you'll ask, how come? look, it's all digitized, and I'm getting the SMS that you had bad stuff because your toilet is digitized. That's kind of the future that's coming in. Now, if that is the future, then first of all we need to think: are we really looking at placements and entrepreneurship in that line? Because we are still traditionally trying to see that, okay, uh, whether I get a job in TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Mindtree, so on and so forth. But are we looking at changing the course so that these companies can continue to source folks from all of us? It's an inflection point. That's something which I feel all of us need to actually think about. So I'll give you a very interesting example. We think that, okay, it's only the brighter minds or the experienced mind that can actually bring out a very innovative product. So there's you've seen the XUV 500 sports vehicle from Mahindra. So when this product was launched, so what they did is they kind of asked the design head, and I happened to get a chance in here in Bharat. It has to be completed not in Pune, it has to be completed in Chennai, new base, new location. And he said, okay, give me 200 engineers. So like any other HR guy, so they said, yes, we'll give you 200 engineers. So out of which 120 freshers. So 120 freshers. So Kumar is starting laughing, but he's relating to his experience. So those 120 engineers, when this design had got, so he did not have an option because he used to come up with a world-class product with Indian pricing, meeting Indian roads, yet all the features that you can think of a Mercedes or BMW. So what he did is he kind of shifted the team, some of his core members to Chennai and took these 120 odd fresh engineers. So what they did is they formed a group of 5 or 6 people for every component of the module of design that they were looking at. And they came up with designs. And in the team, there was freshers who were there. So what they did is they used to challenge the design by looking through various mediums like Google, Research Paper and all. So one such interesting thing is they went to the showroom and started seeing what exactly the customer is looking at. So they saw a lot of people coming in rainy season with umbrellas and they don't know where to keep it in their current car. So that's how the concept of having an umbrella holder in the XUV 500 came from fresh engineers. Then somebody in Bombay, they saw that there's a lot of bumps in the or dents in the bumpers. So somebody related to the Syntex ad, if you remember, right? They used to throw it and it used to spring them. So from there, they thought that why don't we develop a technology? And this trust me, these are being done by fresh engineers. Why don't we develop a technology that can actually help in reducing the dent on the bumpers, and which can reduce the maintenance cost of the customer? So in a way, what actually they demonstrate is what we call, in our terminology, in our industry, called micro-rise. Micro-rise, if some have followed through the net or through any of the other mediums, it talks about alternative thinking, and before that, you don't have to accept any kind of limits. I mean, daily it's a challenge, you have to challenge yourself. It's not that some challenge will be given to you. And third is how you can bring that alternative thinking into action to bring in a desired and positive change for all the stakeholders. So when we talked about attitude, if this particular thinking can be brought into our students, I can tell you we are second to none in terms of the placement. Let me give you some statistics on the placement, what I have experienced. 100 people appear for a campus, so some 50-60% of the people get to the next round. Then suddenly we see a drop of only 20 people come into the final round. Number one, which Professor Sangram shared in the communication skills. I think what we are doing essentially today in most of the colleges, we are trying to do it in the last year. But what they have adopted, NIC has adopted, I think that's the role model. I think we should all look at, we have to catch them down, because a lot of people come from the vulnerable exam. So if you make that, because English is a mode of language and we cannot ignore that anymore. Every sector they need that, because that's one of the major mode of language. And when I say English, it's not about highway English, it's purely about articulation. How do you articulate and how do you listen? And when I take an interview, at times I don't even look at whether he's talking in cloud language. I just keep my eyes closed and try to hear him out. And if I'm able to understand, then I think that my customer 1,000 miles away on a phone call will be able to understand. And it's purely articulation, very simple terms. So that's another angle which you have to look at. Now, we spoke about Internet of Things quite a few times in the morning. Now, Internet of Things, we don't need to wait for somebody in the West to actually do it. We can do it here. I mean, we have the data steel group over here. We have the IT companies here. We have the academia here. Three of us can join together and come up with the use cases of the future. They can help us give us the use case. They can help us give the test data. The technical team can actually guide and mentor and create a framework, and the academia executes. That's how we can co-create an idea out here. Why we follow the West? I mean, that kind of thinking can come in the EDP side is what I feel is very much required. Now, from an EDP or an entrepreneurship, one more example what I could think of is when I was part of CET, I passed my engineering in CET in 1998. So I used to see EDP cell, people are trying to do the projects. Now, have you ever tried to go out and find out where are actually the funding there? I'm sure all the big industry houses have today crowdsourcing mechanism to fund projects, fund EDP cells. One such example I can give about Tech Mahindra, we have IRIS portal, and in Mahindra Group there is a RISE portal also. These sponsor some bright ideas if that can come in, and kind of it's a go IT creation that can. Then another very interesting thing which I can talk on behalf of IT fraternity of Orissa, we have 75 plus medium and small enterprises. The problem with our students is we are only thinking we should only target the top 10 companies. That should not be there. There are companies like Mindfire, they work on the best of the solutions. I have hired people from Mindfire who are working on solutions on big data and MongoDB. Some of the technologies, I think even in mainstream or the tier 1 cities also will not get, but I'm getting people for them. So we should also target, which one of our speakers also shared, how do we tie up with them and make sure that that entrepreneurship thing can actually work out. Then another thing is, if you want to talk about core projects and all, there is some tweaking of the course curriculum is also required. For example, me and Manoj Panda, we were discussing, if you want to take someone and get him into a project, first we need to do a skilling or upskilling or reskilling market, which we need at least 2 months. Then he needs a 1 month, to settle up, and at least 3 months for him to actually prove a point and take it to a logical conclusion or test step. So, is there a way that through electives or through some mechanism we can introduce a model in which, with IT industry, there has to be a different model. Between the manufacturing or process industry, they can simply walk in because they are studying and then immediately say it and a lot of things. But in our case, we have to reskill and upskill. That's another angle that we have to look at. And other areas which I wanted to talk about is when we speak about Internet of Things, one elective course is not going to make a difference. I can tell you, when I go for interview, I ask the electrical engineer, can you please draw me the diagram of the bridge rectifier, full wave bridge rectifier? The candidate feels easy. And I just don't give up there. I almost spent 40 minutes trying to give them a hint how exactly he can actually do it. But most of the time, the ability to get a hint and approach for a solution is missing. That's why we have to, compromise and not select. So when we talk about Internet of Things, it's actually networks, mobility, analytics, then cloud. Then there are 3 S's: social media, sensors, and security aspect. So just imagine the kind of opportunity that lies ahead all of us. And instead of talking about industry academy integration, we can actually think of, in a couple of years down the line, if we all join together, then we can think of industry academy integrated. That's what we can actually look at. Now, who are the biggest threat for major enterprises today in the IT industry? I mean, I would say social media is the biggest threat. Because through social media, you can actually create a company out of. I mean, you don't need a capital funding, you don't need registrations or all those things. 6 people from different part of the globe, they can join hands and they can come up. So if that can happen, why not we can do it here in this space. That's all. In the interest of time, I would like to thank all of you, and especially including for this opportunity. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, sir. We have the next panels will pass Professor C.B. Jones, Dean of Research, Planning and Development, PEC University. Professor Jones has a teaching experience of more than 27 years in the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. He has a BTech in Civil Engineering and a PhD from IIT Kanpur. Professor Jones, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Patnaik, who is a personal friend of mine, in having invited me here and asked me to fill in the gap. If you look at the panel, I'm not there in the panel, but I'm rather asked to do a gap filling activity. So rather, I think my role would be that by and large. Plus, I would strictly stick to the time and fill in the gap in the time lag which we had also. I may not allow him to take out his slip. I think we had three distinct issues as part of this particular session. One is placement, the other one is entrepreneurship development, and strengthening the linkage between the industry and academia. I think the first two parts have not been, well, of course, Mr. Chaudhary has dealt with entrepreneurship development. But the first part, the placement, has not been fairly dealt with. If you try to look at the indicators of good institutions, unfortunately or fortunately, this comes out as one of the prominent indicators of your strength. As what Professor Punia has said, the student and his parent comes to the institute and tries to ask, what is the package which you had last year? And that makes the acceptability of the institution. And it's as simple as that. But of course, we normally look at this as an indicator and try to fool around with that. I'm using an academic context from an academic banner. We fool around saying that my average package is 3 lakhs. And I did have a very crude example to share with you. When we were doing a mock assessment of the modern, the present NBA system, we had mentors from the US to monitor our activity. So one mentor was along with us. We were trying to look at the placement data of the institute. We asked the placement officer, what is your package? It's at 4.5 lakhs. I said, that's fine. What was your lowest package? It was 1.2. It's PA. But we don't normally say whether it is PA or PA. The person who I was slightly taken aback, the person who was with me, the foreigner, he asked, how much is it in dollars? I pretended as if I did not know English. I said, no, I don't have any dollars. That's it. I could not convert it into dollars and tell him that it's admissibly low an amount which you cannot talk in the public. And that's what is the scenario of placement with us. And by the end of the day, all of us in academic scenario or academic institution would love to go to the press conference and say that I have 100% placement. I was taken on a wrong foot, although my director is here. 5 years back, when I was talking to my placement officer, I made a very crude statement in front of him. He said we got 100% placement. The last person in civil engineering is also placed. I made a very crude statement to the extent that Gupta ji, Molly ka mochi ko mere bachche ko bech ke 100% placement ke claim lene mein koi fayda nahi. We are not going taking it anywhere. Fine. We always have an advantage of the present the software advancement. One of the critical issues which in academia circle we have to rethink how many core companies are able to accept our children. If yes, we are making sense in placement. Otherwise, we are giving an elusive figure which has very limited meaning in the society. And that's the first issue with respect to the placement. Then coming to entrepreneurship development, I think it's one day in the morning, Panda in the morning has taken care of that particular issue. The incubation centers and EDP cells in the institutions, many of the elite institutions have opened that thing. Some of them are able to successfully take it forward, but majority of the institutions, these are only offices which are either locked up or which are either to be shown to inspection teams. So a change from this status of the incubation of the ideas and sharing it with the industries can only take it forward, because we don't need to worry about that tragic scenario in the society. That entrepreneurs are very limited. How many Einsteins will come? Very few. Exactly similar is the situation with entrepreneurship. You cannot expect that 50% of your students will go out as entrepreneurs. They are few. Ideas are also, outstanding ideas also may not be many, but they are there, and nurturing them in the form of promoting in our academic scheme is something which has to come in, and that is fairly absent an issue, as what Mr. Chaudhary was pointing out, and that's something which we will have to bring back. If at all we have to promote this as an issue in an academic industry integration scenario. The last issue is linkages with industry. I'm not going to repeat what is said in this forum in the earlier sessions. I have one example which may or may not be taken as a success story. I happen to work as Dean of Punjab Technical University. This is probably the only university in this country which has a full semester industrial training for the students. So when we devised the curriculum, we said this 6 months of industrial training will give my student an opportunity to go to the industry, stay there for a complete semester industrial activity, come back. Morning, Dr. Sarangi was talking about IIT Bombay planning to abolish the BTech project because they were not useful. Fine, the way we have been operating, it has never been useful. So one of the novel thinking which we brought in over there was that the student goes for 6 months to the industry. He at least tries to understand what is happening over there, comes back to the academic institution, continues with the identified industrial problem, as is we call it in Punjab Engineering College also we repeated this model, we call it capstone project. He continues an industrial project for almost 1.5 years in his academic pursuit. And by the end of that, at least he is able to perceive an industrial problem, identify the problem, try to formulate the problem, solve it, and bring out an industrially acceptable solution to that. Well, of course, I did have an opportunity to be part of your curriculum development yesterday. In fact, I was called for that purpose. We did suggest this as a model with a rider, because there were a lot of apprehensions from the college's side. In a university of this magnitude, how are we going to practice it? When I was quoting the example of Peck University, where we are practicing this thing, yours is a unitary institution. You need to deal with only 400 to 500 students, whereas here we will be dealing in thousands. How many industries will be able to cater to our needs? Fine. There is a university in this country which is having a magnitude of the similar kind, which is practicing this model. It is possible and it has paid, because the placement, I go back to the first thing, the placement scenario in this university, otherwise it was also a private affiliating university, has improved tremendously after this intervention of industrial training for a full semester. Fine. There were occasions where it has been found to be swayed from the purpose for which it was initiated. People used to take off from the industry and clear their back papers during that time. Fine. When we were debating on this issue, our Vice Chancellor once said, something is happening in this semester. in the name of industry, fine, even that is good enough. I'm not making a big claim on that thing, but this is one of the opportunities where we can do that thing. And also the university, we did keep our board of studies not housed with the academicians. There would be only one or two academic input, academic intelligentsia which would be present in the board of studies. The stakeholders are many in number in your board of studies, which will take care of the suitability of your course curriculum for the industry. The moment I am asked to talk about academics, what I have been taught or what I studied maybe 40 years back is what is always coming to my mind. In fact, in yesterday's course curriculum also, your state is also not an exception. All of us, as we grow older, we try to love our yellow sheets going back 40 years. That's quite natural. Well, whatever I possess is the best thing in the world. May not be my wife. At the end of the day, I cannot say that. When it comes to the academia interaction, the continued linkage with academia, this is one of the occasions where we completely ignore the industry. And thereafter we adopt this thing, practice it, and thereafter we sit back and say that we don't get placements. And the industry will come back and give a feedback to us, saying that your curriculum is absolutely orthodox, it has no relevance to us. But at the preparation of the curriculum itself, we do have an opportunity to involve the industry, whereby we would be able to adopt an industry linked curriculum in our practice. Therefore, by the end of doing this particular activity, at least your student would be in a position to your product, if I'm quoting with a single inverted comma, which Dr. Arora has said not to be used. If your product is to be acceptable or sellable, this is one of the ways in which what the customer requires, the industry requires, will have to be attributed to the product. And that's what one of the smart games which we can come back from the academia side into a continued linkage. And also, if you look at the present accreditation criterion, you would be finding that one of the criteria is that how did you revise your curriculum? All of us get into that activity. Maybe IITs do it in every 4 years. We might do it in every 10 years or 20 years. How did we do it? A few of us sat together. May not be on a round table. We always have a conference, a table that receiver side. The Vice Chancellor, sorry, Dr. Patnaik is not around. The Vice Chancellor will come and say that for the last 20 years we have not revised the curriculum. We do it. Yes, sir. It is done. On the same day, sitting at the same place, the entire curriculum of the entire university is revised. Does it make any sense to us? Does it make any sense to the industry? It is a reality which we will have to undo. And mostly when we do it, it has to be an evolving curriculum development, which has to have a constant interaction with the industry, who is the stakeholders in that particular activity. And without which there cannot be a curriculum. I go with Dr. Punia that there need not to be a curriculum. But the curriculum is an evolving curriculum, and that takes care of the interest of the industry. The last issue in that particular thing would be even the current choice-based system. That's what was deliberated upon in yesterday's curriculum revision meeting. That we have a responsibility to give the child the choice. Does not have any freedom to choose what he wants to study. We dictate, and even today, we in this age, when he is saying that internet of everything, he is smarter than me. And let me be honest in admitting that thing. Even in academic circle, he has gone ahead of me. He is smarter than me. He has at least a smarter device than what I possess. The moment I say hydraulics, he punched it in with his 10 fingers. I can use only one of my fingers, even it is a smarter device. I'm inferior to him with respect to this facilitation. We should accept that thing and we should give him as much flexibility in the curriculum within the frame of academics so that he is able to explore what he is and what he can do in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Since the title of the session is Placement and Entrepreneurship Development, I'm sure there's so many questions because we have with us many faculty in charge of placement, different institutes and also. So I guess it's a nice platform to interact with panel. If you have got any questions,
I have two, three questions.
please.
First question is for NITDR Director, Chandigarh. When are you retiring, sir?
You want to take you?
Yes. Because these days, it's difficult to find the people with the right kind of attitude. And he has that attitude. And we need more people like him. And we will simply hire him. Okay. Right. That is one question. Number two, placement. If an organization is training people, 4 years of his time they have utilized, and during the time certain money also was extracted from him, is it not our moral responsibility? Moral. Forget about other things. That he should find something at the end if he is not placed. And if an institution is giving a consistent track record, can we treat the attitude of that institution and the people who are running that, the people who are associated with that need to be corrected? This is my second question.
The first question I can answer, sir, because it is in my hand.
Yes.
Whether
You can give me privately also.
even the or any corner of the country. Even in Pakistan, if I'm serving, how does it matter at global level? We people have to serve at global level. It hardly matters, sir. Wherever I will be working, I am working for everyone. Another thing, just I've forgotten. Any industry in US, even starting from Microsoft, if you take the case of Google, take the case of Cisco, any organization which has taken birth, it has taken birth in university. MIT, every year 40 new industries they are able to create impact with their software. Every year 40. In the history of Harvard, around 3,000 industries those people have created on this earth. Can we people do? Our universities can do this.
Any more questions from the crowd?
We, since the theme for this session is entrepreneurship, also, I would like to know what's your comment on whether the entrepreneurship should be taught in the institutions or as a part of the program. Can it be taught or not? Something like that is what I would know from you. And even in the panel.
I think it should be practiced, not taught. It should not be taught, I think it should be practiced. And that's what I was trying to do earlier, that how do we make sure the industry, the academia and the student, and of course all together. It cannot be just with one party or two parties. You have to see all the stakeholders together and how all of us together can do it. And it has to be more practical oriented. It should not be a course curriculum. It should be running for 2 years. I don't know how the model will be that. Maybe our experts, all of you here, you would be able to do that within the guidelines of the Washington Core and all those areas. But it cannot be taught. And that would be very theoretical.
Our experience is somewhere around 4% of the students, they end up starting their own business in some way. The basic underlying thing we see, all of them have a lot of self-confidence, and that self-confidence has come because of the training they got. So if you can train them properly, certain small percentage only will go as entrepreneurs, not a big number because of our economy. But 3-4%, 5% if we achieve, it is very good. For which good training is what is to be important. They must have confidence in them.
What is possible is only that you can prepare the base for that by plugging in courses of the kind what he taught in the morning, the economic management and other things which we don't normally teach on undergraduate program. That kind of a thing, and the activities which build his self-confidence, and that's what is driving him.
Just wanted one last one which I missed out sharing. We're talking about placements and all. I mean, way back in 1997, 98, when I was an engineering graduate, the students actually run the placement cell of CE. So I think the young minds have a lot of disruptive ideas, or they can challenge the conventional way, and we should actually, empower them to get into the placement cell activities and let them drive the placement. Maybe, of course, the decision making, everything has to be with the faculty because there are sensitivities in terms of giving the slots and other stuff. But if it gets done at that level, you can also see some tremendous improvements.
My answer is what he answered question. Whether it will be entrepreneurship, it will be topic in that. My suggestion, it can be an optional subject. Having his own background, having own stability, economic condition, if he can choose it, and if he feel that it is suiting to him, he can take it. It can be given as an optional subject, and its scope should be there. My point, my suggestion is scope should be there. Thank you.
Yes.
In fact, recently I was going through the article that India needs around 50,000 renewable energy experts in coming years. And Ministry of Energy, central government, they are also providing some sponsor type of training, and they are appointing some franchisee all over countries in different states. Even I surprised to note that even the university level people, they are also not aware that such programs are going to be held. And apart from this, in other areas, a lot of other areas also, there are trainings, need-based trainings for the undergraduate or postgraduate levels. I think taken care, and there should be a what you call a notice board. It should be announced to all the students, like for the renewable energy kind of training and all. At least they will aware of this program, which is sponsored through the central government, which is free of cost. And by having this normal study, they can have at least the added advantage of having this extra training and all. Are these are taken care in our BPUT and all? That is basically our Chancellor, Vice Chancellor.
Actually, honestly, this was not taken care of. Maybe in the individual level, the institutes have taken care, but not at the university level. But after I took over in March 13th of this year, the first thing which I asked my faculty member who are even not permanent there, I asked create a proposal so that a clean energy concept we can introduce, such a big building we are having, and Rourkela is a rich solar energy source for us, so go for it. So they have almost not come up with a proposal, and they consulted a person who is into this already, a retired official, and the proposal is ready. In fact, they are struggling to have time with me, and I was struggling to arrange this type of activity. So in month of July, we'll sit on that. So the very first thing which we are trying to do is to utilize the faculty strength to go for the green energy approach, but to create the type of training which you are talking about. So those type of things will be introduced. Definitely, I am open to this type of national scheme. In fact, I am into the national scheme only. And these big players who are my partners, they have to ensure that these type of things are introduced for their students, because BPUT has students with these big players only, so they have to ensure that it is introduced.
Right. Thank you.
And just put like one minute I want to get into this one. Just a minute, then one initiative which Chandigarh has taken up, we have tied up with Tech Mahindra. And in our campus, skill development program, in fact, and we people are doing for disabled people, differently abled people. In a batch, it's for 3.5 months. Trainers, Tech Mahindra, providing infrastructure. We people have given. We are tied up with NGO, is promoting, motivating students who are disabled, mentally retarded, or blind even. In a batch of 130 students, the training is for 4 months, particularly in the area of retail, then this IT enabled this thing, and then English. In 3 areas, we are providing training to them. During last 1 year, around 270 students have been trained, and it's a great thing that out of 270, 230 have got job also. So even this type of initiative, because we want holistic development, every month the biggest person in the society, if it can be strengthened with the help of this one of the best university which is in your hands, if these type of initiatives can be taken, particular skill part, as you were saying about the competitions of the skills at global level. We people have done, that is Olympics, it is Olympics. We people have done Olympics, Ability Olympics, basically for disabled people. We have done competition in 34 areas at NITES Chandigarh, around 550 disabled people they came, and in different skill competition there. The people who are winners of those events, they are taking part into Olympics. It will be in Brazil now. Next year it will be in Brazil. And these type of activities, if it can be done for everything, hopefully situation can change.
Just to answer your question, yes, we have a course in renewable energy in the syllabus. That is an elective course which is offered in some of the colleges which have the necessary expertise. The second point is in renewable energy. Our institute in West Parampur, at least we have a fully green living laboratory. We have done solar thermal, we have got tidal, we have got micro wind, we have got biogas, we have biomass, we have integrated these things with IoT, and currently we are implementing in a village called Chotki in Sarkosia Sanctuary, where the first digital village, which is completely off-grid, using a 50 kilowatt system, electricity and internet-based educational services and enterprises like Atta Chakki or Innocoms and all are being established using an off-grid solution, which our faculty students along with the company from Bangalore are doing together. So there's a lot of things, but the potential is enormous.
One academically level, in fact, a research team should be there to find out what are the opportunities for of EDP development exist in India. I mean, there are various organizations that are actually having funds, but they don't have ideas. So maybe if that team can be there, which can actually feed into the different colleges, then it can foster EDP curriculum.
Basically, I have already gone in we conducted a similar type of workshop in Chandigarh. All this funding agency and how to apply for utilize and all those things. Already a professor from MIT Jaipur, who is his director's colleague, he managed him. He delivered a fantastic presentation for us, for the people in Chandigarh. So similar type of awareness camp I'll be also conducting in Bhubaneswar, and that is in the pipeline also. But a lot of things are there. This is a good suggestion that will improve the research scenario, especially in the private engineering.
Thank you, sir. Before we wind up, I would like to request Dr. Sandra Mudali to felicitate our panelists. I would request Professor Anita Prabha to assist. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Straight away, we will go for the last technical session. The title of the session is Expanding Linkages, Journey Together, and Establishment of Chairs and Techno Centers. For this, we have with us three panelists. Dr. Sandeep Sanchetti, President, Manipal University, Jaipur. We have with us Kumar Panda, Executive Manager, Shri Panda and Shri Singh, to be on the right space. To start with, Dr. Sandeep Sanchetti holds a PhD from Queen's University of Belfast, UK, after obtaining a BTech degree, ECE from Regional Engineering College, Warangal, now NIT Warangal, and MSc Engineering from Delhi College of Engineering, now DTU, in 1982 and 1985 respectively. Dr. Sanchetti began his professional career at NBM Engineering College, Jodhpur, as assistant professor in the Department of ECE in 1984. He was the principal coordinator of QIP program at IICT 2011 of MIMCET and All India MC Entrance Test 2008, Chairman of Central Counseling Board CCB 2011, and Chairman Direct Admission of Students from Abroad DASA 2010-12 scheme of MHRD Government of India. Prior to joining as the President of Manipal University, Jaipur, he was Director of the National Institute of Technology, Delhi. He was also Director NIT Surathkal and Director in Charge NIT Tiruchirappalli, NIT Calicut, School of Planning and Architecture, and Mentor Director NIT Goa, NIT Puducherry, and NIT Sikkim. He is a Life Fellow of Institutions of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, Institutions of Engineers India, Broadcast Engineering Society, and a member of Institutions of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, USA. He is also a life member of IST and has served as Honorary Secretary and Chairman, IETE, Rajasthan Center, and is currently Vice President of IEEE MTT India Chapter. Professor Sanchit Degrees.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Patnaik, Vice Chancellor, BPUT, for this wonderful organization and also giving me an opportunity to come and share a few things with you and also learn a lot from all of you. The theme in this case happens to be slightly changed because all along, whenever we talked about industry, we talked about various terms, but I'm seeing the term integration for the first time. And that's important because integration is the real thing which we look for. I started my journey as a teacher, probably the word which was industry institute interface, which was something very common. And that is something like, you can say, the coming together. We were just trying to come together, and that's where the interface was required. And that was nothing but the beginning of the journey. Later, it became industry institute interaction. It should become more and this and that. And that was something like keeping together. Interaction is keeping together when we are together. And that was something like progress rather than the beginning, it was progress. And integration is something much bigger. When we are integrated, I think we are working together, and that should lead us to more success. So we are moving from beginning to progress to success. And if we can really put things in right perspective and take certain right decisions, I'm sure success will be ours. One thing we are on a very good note is, or the good foundation is that all of us here, whether it's industry or academia, people who can really control both sides, bureaucrats or people from general administration, also need to see this thing happening, that they want industry and academia should coexist and co-deliver and something like that. So we are in a very sort of happy situation as far as this particular perspective of industry and academia is concerned. Lots of thoughts which have been shared since morning. I won't try to repeat any one of them. The concerns are very well known to all of us. The solutions are a little difficult to find, and implementation is the real challenge, which is what we are facing. And therefore, I will keep a slightly different wavelength in terms of whatever those 8-10 minutes which have been given to me. And the topic for our panel discussion here, for our session, happens to be on the establishment of chairs, techno centers, and the journey together. I'll remain focused on this. I may be also given a check in case it is required, in case I'm exceeding my time. Generally, I have not, but in case I should be warned on that. I'll talk about journey together a little later in the end, but I'll first talk about the chairs and then later about the techno centers. All that which I'm going to share may not be my own ideas, but this is what I might have seen, or I might have practiced, or might have been part of initiating something of that nature. And number one, talking about the chairs. Now, I know that something like 5 years back, I was in IIT Kanpur, and there was a very frantic discussion happening between the teaching fraternity that which IIT will have the maximum chairs, which IIT will get 100 chairs first, something of that nature was happening. I do not know why it was so competitive, but it was good that everyone is trying to do that. But in the end, when I tried to assess, I think no one reached those 100 chairs. So the aspirations were high, but the ground realities were not known. And everyone thought a chair would cost something like 1 crore or maybe somewhere around that in an IIT at that time. And suddenly comes the 6th Pay Commission, and that chair now costing 1.5 crores. And by the time they will implement and they'll go with that, the chair would cost around 2 crores. So creating a chair is something, a real challenge. We should not really bother about such aspects of that. What we should bother about is what is a chair meant to be. what a chair is supposed to do. A chair is supposed to be an interface between, let's say, industry and the academia. A chair is supposed to know what are the weak and the strengths of one setup vis-a-vis the other one, where each one can be helping the other one is something what a chair does. If a chair from industry comes to an academia, they will identify the problems that industry wants to solve, and they'll identify the people from academia who can solve those problems and what are the tools. A chair can always advise the industry and the academia both without any bias by saying that if you buy an equipment in an academic institution or buy a software in an academic institution, it can be much cheaper than compared to what it is going to cost in an industry. No one else can do. If I go from academia telling industry that this is what can happen, they will see I have some bias or some personal interest in suggesting that, and so is the case with the other side if industry comes to us. And therefore, a chair is something which I'll call a facilitator. Chair is something which is a moderator. Chair is something which in our electrical terms I call impedance matching, which will match both the sides and their requirements without less loss. Okay, you cannot do anything perfectly, but it can do it without lesser loss. And therefore, chair is very important. So for me, chair is not necessarily a 1 crore, 2 crore thing, not a permanent thing, not a thing which should be looked as a teaching substitution or as a research substitution. Chair should be flexible. And fortunately, in the institutions in which I have worked, we have tried to use that flexibility as a model. And therefore, I have always advocated a chair could be for a month or a 2 months or a 5 months or a year, or it could be at the most 3 years. Chair should always be on the competitive basis. Chair should be generally be preferred in an interdisciplinary area rather than a metallurgical chair. By the way, we had a chair from Ministry of Steel which was promoting the steel as a subject, and they created chairs, and we used to laugh at that we have got a steel chair now rather than the wooden chairs or whatever. So anyway, the chair should be something which could be depending upon, suppose I'm an expert, I'm coming from US or Europe or wherever, and I'm willing to work with BPUT on certain things. Why should BPUT put a condition that I have to be here for 1 year and then only I can work? They should be flexible enough, like they were flexible enough today morning to engage the chief secretary in a different mode. The different mode should remain that I can come here for 2 months, do something. I get paid for that, let's say if I'm full time with you. But once I'm outside, I can be remotely be accessible and do something. And therefore, number one is the chair should be something what we call flexible rather than what is currently known as a fixed chair. Let it be a different, let it be a rocking chair if I can say so, rather than a non-rocking chair, non-moving chair kind of a thing. The second thing is, in most cases, we do not have our funds, and we do not or we cannot support such chairs, and that's the biggest challenge we face. And therefore, each institution of our own should create what we call corpus. Corpus name, I leave it to you, what name you want to give it. The corpus should be in the hand of the director or a select committee or the vice chancellor or whosoever it is, and that is a flexible money. That's not a money which is budgeted. That's not the money which is given by government. That's not the money which is collected for one on a particular year for consumption. That should be a money which is constantly a pool of money available. You know most of the case what a corpus means. Corpus could be a variety of kind, but there should be a corpus for chairs. That is most important. Why? Because these people, when they come to you, so-called chairs or the professorial chairs or people from industry or wherever they have come from, they are the ones who will tickle you, who will change your mindset, who will tell you what the world is doing, what direction research is happening, what are the hot areas and not so hot areas, what are the subjects to be taught or not to be taught. All those interventions come from the chair. So to make that happen in different areas, different fields, given a choice, I'll have a full chair, but I give 2 months each to every discipline of mine, saying that each one of them get charged with some sort of a new energy by calling someone from wherever they want, industry or academia. And therefore, internal corpus or internal control is something very, very essential. The next is industry themselves are doing a lot of CSR. And the CSR is not only giving money, which is how it is perceived as that give your profit. Your profit is not only your profit in terms of what money you are sitting with. Your profit is your knowledge also. Your profit or your property is what you are acquiring as a manpower or the knowledge resource which you have. And therefore, that should also be part of CSR. And therefore, to the industry, the request is that at least each capable researcher or developer or manager or someone, I'm not defining it fully, should be spending some 10-15 days if possible. Maybe it's a paid sabbatical to them, maybe it's a paid holiday. You can say you go to Kashmir University and do something there, enjoy your time as well as excite the people, but it should be done, and that kind of a chair should also be available in my opinion. Similarly, the whole concept should be supported on both sides, that the industry chair will also come charged with what is happening in academia, who are the capable people who can take up some kind of project and who can be given money, etc., etc. So this is what I basically call chair as, and in my group definition, if I call it, it could be something like a role of matchmaking, and that matchmaking is on all aspects of research, teaching, learning, hiring, funding, whatever it may be, is what the chair is supposed to be doing. The second thing is on the techno centers. Most of us are very, very happy about what we call techno centers. In my opinion, could be centers of excellence. Centers of excellence is something when we say we want to do high-end research. All of us like the name. All of us crave to have centers of excellence in our own institution, because we know that in that name we can suck crores of rupees easily, because government is sitting on heap of money and we want to claim it somehow. And in most cases, I think we belong to same institution in principle, myself and Professor Punia, and we have seen cases that the center of excellence were created, but they remained locked under certain heads called XYZ, purely for the reason that they didn't want the costly facility to be damaged or done with something, and therefore this approach of creating a physical center did not work. And this was my observation in at least 5 to 7 other institutions where I have worked, and therefore I have always followed a different approach. A center for excellence can always exist for me, but in a distributed fashion. Suppose I'm doing a work that needs something called materials. The material department can have some facility. I need electrical characterization because I'm an electrical engineer. I have that particular facility. Mechanical or some other department is helping me with fabricating, chemical or chemistry is helping me with fabrication. I think that can also have certain facility. So I can create a so-called center, but that center is non-physical center or a distributed kind of a center, and that is what I would have really sort of suggest. And why I would suggest that, in that case, an external agency can also become some small element of such a center, be it an industry, be it a test lab, be it any other facility which is there. And therefore, the techno centers should be something what we call distributed. Why? Because if one person becomes the head, let's say I'm from electrical engineering, the other medical side will get neglected, will not get their due. That's how it has happened in most of the cases. And therefore, this distributed approach will be something very, very successful in my opinion. This is my suggestion. And generally, the centers of excellence should have variety of themes in terms of working. It should not be a limited focus. It should be more interdisciplinary in nature. And then that should be held by teachers who are recruited with the purpose of both teaching and research. In Western world, we know that teachers are recruited with a mandate that would you like to carry fully research, would you like to carry fully teaching, or would you have percentage of teaching, percentage of research? Such people who have keenness of teaching as well as research is who should support the centers of excellence, because in the center there should be more people involved, including our UG and PG students. Unless a teacher teaches, he would not know which student has interest and the potential, and the matchmaking will not be very good. And therefore, the centers should also have a slightly different approach in terms of that. And one suggestion for industry in terms of centers is, industry is generally advanced when it comes to the need of equipment or the type of equipment or the level of equipment. And very soon, after 3, 4, 5 years, that will get, let's say, shunted out, and there will be a new set of equipment or test routine or standards which are followed. However, the old equipment still keeps working. Industry will keep retaining it for their own reasons because they don't know how to dispose it off and they don't know how to use it. I think an ideal thing would be industry should proudly donate such equipment to the institutions which are functional, working, or maybe requiring marginal repairs or maintenance or making it functional, so that the students get trained on those principles of those testing or equipment or measurement, whatever it is, which is otherwise not possible. I know one group in my own area which might have produced 20 PhDs without a key equipment for last 20 years, but they could lay their hands on that sort of equipment only 2 years back. Whereas an industry had a potential to donate that equipment 20 years back itself to them, but the matchmaking was not happening. So I think industry should come forward by generously donating those equipments which are of no use. I'm not saying that give the new equipment, give the money, but donate something like that, and that will be very handy. So ultimately, to facilitate both the techno centers and chairs, alumni play a big role. And whenever an alumni is talking to an institution, we should not talk to alumni by putting a begging wall in front of them saying, we want money from you, we want something like that. Generally, that is what happens with the alumni, and so they don't like the relationship between institution and the alumni. I think ideally when they are in industry, we should ask them for such things, that they create part chairs, send a part expert for 10 days or a week. And the final word on the journey together. I think one of the challenges sometime back we faced was IBM was craving to start a dedicated PG program with us in one of the institutions. And they chased us to some extent, saying that why don't you start and we'll give a batch of 50, 20, 30 students. When we talked about this, my board was very clear that we would not start industry-specific programs. And we were constantly discussing this particular issue. And ultimately, we found that there was no appreciation for the companies in our academic institutions and vice versa. That means we don't know what they are doing and they don't know what we are up to and we are able to do. And one of the forums when we were discussing such challenges, I suggested to them, IBM people, saying that most points which I'd like to make. I was part of the Kharagpur community which reviewed initially IITs and I was part of the NIT review committee team. And they very clearly, we guys and it was a 4-member committee, we came out very clearly with 1 or 2 models, which may be partly repetition of some opinions today morning. Point number 1 is that if there is a course of 40 hours, which is generally the case, okay, for 3-4 credit course, 40 hours maybe, we have clearly suggested that 10 to 15% of that course, which would mean something like 4 to 6 hours of lectures, should be given to industry related to that subject, irrespective of the syllabi and content, irrespective of the test, irrespective of the assignment, and irrespective of the evaluation. What we are trying to say is, if I'm doing a subject on devices, let's say, someone from the industry who does, let's say, device manufacturing, testing, or whatever, something like that, can come and speak anything on that particular subject to excite the young minds on that particular subject. It has nothing to do with the evaluation component or paper or something like that. No burden on the industry person, and it could be done in a different mode. So it's something what we call value add on top of that, and this is what is a model which we have suggested. We also suggested various other things which are there in the same context. I cannot describe it. But yes, when it came to industry thing, we also very greatly and with passion talked about that MSME sector should be supported and involved with the institutions in a certain way compared to the bigger industries which are there. So friends, there are very many models which we can follow. Most of the things which I have talked about is what we have practiced or what we have seen, and not hypothetical, and I'm sure you will be able to use them. Before I close, just a point of concern. This morning someone made a mention that some of the IITs are contemplating removing the final year project. I think it will be a serious mistake. If at all today there is a small connection between industry related activities and us, I think the mainstay of that is the final year project or the 6 months internship or training or project, whatever. In case it is weeded out, I think it will be a suicidal thing. My suggestion here would be that we need to really strengthen that, and not only that, for betterment of industry academia relationship, we should have some long-term projects also in the hand. At times when we are looking at short-term, it's like maintenance and repair kind of a thing. No, academia is not necessarily meant for that. We may eventually do that, but what we should look at is a long-term project. That is how the US model has thrived. That is where they worked on the futuristic technologies and delivered the results, and then fragmented into small projects and delivered something. I'm sure if we follow some of these methods, we'll also be very successful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Extremely accurate. We will have with us Sri Manoj Kumar Panda, Center Head of TCS Limited. Sri Panda completed his BTech in Computer Sciences from NIT Varangal in 1990 and has worked in several offices in India and US. In June 2007, he moved to Bhubaneswar and since then heading the operations in Odisha. Moreover, he is having the additional responsibility of managing a global role in the Oracle practice of TCS. He has been the IT panel convener of CII Odisha during 2009-10 and now also in the same role for the year 2014-15. Mr. Panda, please.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Members in the dais and all senior members from the extension and different prominent members from different parts of the country. It's a very nice event. When Mr. Professor Mukul last met me, I think 1 month back, and it was really that we are conducting an event like this, and he wanted me to come. At that time, I was not very sure what kind of event to do today. When I see it, it's a lot of synergy that needs to be there in the industry and the academy, and to make it stronger. So the topic that we are discussing here is the establishment of chairs in the techno centers. One thing I would like to share today, doing different discussion has come out. Even Professor already told that what the institutions are doing and what the industry is doing, just wanting probably less skilled people. Industry is trying to create more skilled people. Definitely, there is a expectation mismatch between some institutions versus if you go to the smaller institutions, the thing is different. They want probably their students to be placed everywhere. A big institution not bother about its students getting placed. So concepts, why we are teaching somebody in the college, what time to the college, and what is happening in the industry. I think there is a lot of gap and difference. When we are discussing all these things, it is coming up. So in the industry also, I can talk about IT industry. You have a lot of COEs, you have center of excellences, you have Center of Excellence for the services we offer, right? You have Microsoft Center of Excellence, you have SAP Center of Excellence, you have Mobility Center of Excellence. So what are the services we are offering to our customers in that similar line? We have Center of Excellence. So if we actually are looking at, I think it's a very good idea that this Techno Center, what can be established in the college, can be an extension of this Center of Excellence from the industry itself. Like TCS Center of Excellence in the mobility area can happen maybe from CET, part of that in Bhubaneswar. I'm just an example. So, but see, what I think many times we are forgetting in the context is that why an industry will agree to do this. Okay, what is the advantage it will get? Or is it going just donate this money to the college? Okay, you take it and just do whatever way you want. So like TCS or many of the IT companies are running the COEs in a different way. They want to create value out of that. They want to create business out of it. They want to understand how to get new projects out of it. If the colleges are going to be able to help in that direction, definitely they will be able to ready to invest. But most of the time when we discuss with the institutions, it is like, okay, you give us the money, college will take the money and do whatever they want. They might not do the way the industry wants. And that's where I think the tussle comes in terms of whether I should give the money or I should not give the money. Many times maybe I'm not able to tell no, and after 10 times person, I tell okay, you take something. So at the end of the day, that money is whatever the institutions or organizations giving also is not creating any big value out of to the institution, nor it is creating any big value for the industry. So if we can think of ways and mechanisms, if we can think how this whole thing can work, so that the institution also gets benefit by understanding the knowledge that the areas which are running in the industry, and industry also gets benefit by see in the college or a lot of manpower. You have PhD students, you have tech students, a lot of scholars who can, or the faculty themselves, who can learn these things and try to take it forward. In fact, we 5 years back, I think we had tried to train the faculty of different colleges of Odisha and Bengal in Calcutta. Trying to think that okay, we can train the faculties into this programming and all that, so that they can take it forward and we can have instead of students going to our campus and trying to help us with some things, we can make the students do summer project in the college itself. But somehow it didn't click very well. Maybe the appreciation for that doing the programming and the project for the faculties was not that much. Because they're again evaluated based on how many papers they're going to do, how many journals they're going to do, not necessarily how many projects they're going to do successfully with TCS or with any company. So if I think this is a very right thought we're putting. My suggestion is you can think of some model in which this can work parallelly. That's going to be very, very helpful. Another thing I want to share with you, see, all these IT companies that are growing, yes, what is IT companies are growing, but the amount of money IT companies are spending, okay, outside in terms of CSR, in terms of giving it to colleges, and all are very restricted. Okay, most of the companies it's the same thing. It's very difficult to pull out amount. When somebody asking for amount only, it's not very easy that we are able to just give this much amount to do this and all that. Where as maybe manufacturing companies or big companies, it's little different. We were just discussing about this little bit. Why this is happening? Because see, when a manufacturing company is getting set up, there is a lot of thought that is coming in that there is a lot of social discourse happening. A lot of land is being taken. A lot of people are getting affected. So a lot of money is getting pumped into help the ecosystem and all that. Whereas when IT company is getting set up, this kind of mindset is not coming within the industry, that they're doing damage a lot of people and that they contribute too much to the people and all that. Somehow that has not been in the ecosystem. And the amount of money that goes in CSR and all that, with all these rules are coming now, is happening, but that culture has not been built up in the IT organizations. So it is taking little time to get into that gear. So, sponsoring a chair, for example, most of the IT companies would like to understand what is the benefit that IT companies will get if I sponsor a chair in IIIT or in CET. What is that this is going to get out? Are we going to get some professors who can work with us in research areas which will help us get more business? If answers are coming out no in all these areas, somehow that whole discussion is not going forward. So if some things can be thought, to me, if some things can be thought, in which the funds can come from different sources, idea can come from the IT industries or the experience from the IT industries, research, the chair sponsorship can happen in the colleges. That is something which is going to really work out well. Today, when supposing a college is putting up a project for funding, that time they're not thinking we need industry help to do the project. No. That time they're thinking we are qualified enough to put a paper and get funding for the project. That time they think that why don't we take help of TCS now or any company now to make it solid so that we will get out a product. Because fund is there in different ways. But most of the time, the institutions are going the approach to get fund from the organizations and somehow it is not working. This is my experience. I just want to share with you this. Thank you for giving the opportunity to come again.
Thank you, sir. The last list we have this is Mr. Alok Singh. Mr. Singh is the delivery manager at Infosys with more than 18 years of experience. He is the financial services LOB head for Bhubaneswar Development Center. His diverse experience working with a variety of clients, domains starting from manufacturing, banking, and e-commerce. He holds a patent in his name and also in charge of automation and modernization practice. Mr. Singh, please.
Yes, good afternoon all. First thing, on behalf of Infosys, I would like to thank the entire organizing committee. Obviously, it has been an engrossing day, mesmerizing thoughts all around, and huge learning, to say the least. So, obviously, when I got invited, I never thought it is going to be so enriching personally for me. So thanks to the sir and the entire organizing committee. Morning itself, and there have been some great ideas that have been pouring in from various dignitaries here. Mr. Mishra was talking about how we can create definitions as to where the gap is between the academies and what industry needs. Mr. Sarani, he was talking about we are not exactly exploiting the capability of the technocrats that we are producing, and the people that they are producing is more the soft floor rather than to build the heavy equipment. Mr. Satsati, he was talking about can we have a specialization as an additional semester? Maybe development lab. Mr. Punya was emphasizing on the practical aspects. He also brought in a nice theme of digitization in the entire thing. Mr. Chaudhary, he was talking about co-creation of IP on IoT. So it has been overwhelming, at least personally for me. And again, if I have a specific topic, but before I start, I just want to link this. And I operate for industry. So more often than not, almost on everyday basis, we get into this discussion at a personal level. That what is that academies has to offer and where is the industry who is going to support. And believe me, my father has always much more suggestions as compared to me. So that is always the case. But anyway, we have a couple of topics. I'll start the journey first. Talking about journey, we all have heard about industrial revolution. This industrial revolution happened in 18th century and in 19th century. 20th century, we have this internet revolution. Just yesterday, I was reading a news article and this is happening because they are able to bring the wind turbines, the entire oil pipelines, and I was hearing to a gentleman called Mark Elgonin. He is the G UK head, and he is finding this revolution as industrial internet. And what he's saying is he is investing millions and millions of dollars in putting up sensors and connectors across the aerospace sector, the medicine sector, the energy sector, and they are saying that this is going to the future. And obviously, we have been talking about IoT since morning. So the concept is simple. We are trying to make machines more intelligent. So we are at this stage now when we are trying to make machines more intelligent. Look, we are seriously in the midst of some serious transformation. I doubt, if we had ever thought about switching on my AC in my bedroom when I am leaving the office. I would have never thought about it. I would have never thought about printing a rocket engine injector. I would have never dreamt of carrying the radios plus the TV plus the camera plus the video plus the mobile, everything in plus the mini bank in a 100-gram device, and it is in my pocket. Would have never thought about it. Maybe a decade prior to this. So this is very clear that technology is changing and changing literally very fast. So is our academy I'm sure that Fortran may not be there now. At least I realize that this is of no worth. And I can tell you that this entire evolution process of academies is very slow. And we have to make it to near sync. Look at Infosys. We are talking about these changes every day. We have a huge program. We are the entire and the perhaps the engineering parts and the core engineering parts. corporates, and there that will be common place wherein everyone can collaborate, exchange, and share, and that will be that